Hey folks, this is Vint with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly check out and talk about Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. Now, I typically don't make these kinds of videos, and I was hesitant to just sort of rip the trailer and then do some kind of reaction to it, because I'm not a big fan of reaction videos. I just feel like anyone can rip a video and then comment on it, and somehow like you're making a profit off of someone else's work. Rather, I just took screen grabs of the Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown trailer that just recently released on Steam, and we're going to check out each screen and sort of analyze what may or may not be in the game. So I'm really excited. I typically don't make these videos, but I'm a big Star Trek fan. And Star Trek Voyager, I love that show. I just love the idea of a ship being stranded, trying to make their way home. Like, that is not a typical Star Trek story, and I really enjoy it. Anyway, you're here to check out the screen grabs that I took, so let's go ahead and just jump right into it. Now, if you want to see the trailer in its entirety, head on over to the Steam store page and check it out for yourself. If I remember, I'll put a link in the below description for you. There's no ETA on the release date. So, Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. As I already mentioned, this takes place in the Delta Quadrant, where the Voyager was thrown, and they're trying to make their way home. If you haven't seen the seven season show, then by all means check it out, because it is a fantastic series. I can't say enough about Star Trek Voyager. But let's go ahead and take a look at each screen grab one at a time and see what we're up against here. Now, I was looking at this interface, and already I can tell there's going to be some kind of resource management aspect to it. Because if you look on the very top of the screen, there's it looks like a purple resource that says 28. There's a blue resource that says 3. There's a green science beaker icon that says 93. There's a dark blue one that says 973. And then to the right, there's power. There's, looks like cargo space possibly to the right of that 150, and then full underneath it. Food on the very far right. And then on the upper right, it looks like there's 28 out of 69, which tells me maybe that's how many crew we have. I'm not entirely sure. Again, this is just theories at this point. So this looks like some kind of solar system, and you're going to be traveling between different stellar phenomena, whether they be asteroids or planets or whatnot, and gathering supplies. And that's what Voyager did throughout the entire series, was they bounced around trying to stay alive. They had to figure out ways to stay alive. And again, I like that. And in the upper left, you can see there's a sector threat level. So it looks like as you move from location to location, there may be, more calm areas, more difficult areas. I guess it all depends on that. I don't know if your choices will determine sector threat level or not, to be honest with you. Now, there's also this state of flux in the upper left. Collect, produce, or trade 1,000 food. You have 0 out of 1,000 food. Visit the L-class planet to search for natural food sources. So state of flux was the name of an episode. So it's just coincidence that, they're using episode names as like goal names, or it is like episodic. I'm not sure yet. And then excess power, this might be like a side quest. Build 1 new battery compartment within 20 cycles. So it looks like the yellow ones with the gold Starfleet insignia there, state of flux. It looks like those are like main missions, and below that you've got the blue ones, which are possibly side quests. And it even looks like on the map here, you can see that there's a yellow icon above this stellar phenomenon and a blue icon above the stellar phenomenon that matches these things to the left. So it looks like these things are highlighted for you, which is nice. Now, again, as far as the rest of it, it's all purely speculation. On the very bottom, there's overview, tech tree, and skip cycle. So it looks like this part of the game may be turn-based. If there's a skip cycle, then I'm guessing that this part of it is turn-based. Again, pure speculation here. But it does look like there's a tech tree, which is really cool. Moving on to the next screen grab. Again, similar to the last one, looks like we have Voyager moving to different places in this general, possibly solar system / area. And what's interesting, on the very top as well, you've got like a little like medical +1 there. and you got homes 2 and a green 1. That's reminiscent to me of like Frostpunk. So I'm wondering if this part of the game, borrows a bit of inspiration from Frostpunk in the sense that you're going to be, managing this small city, as it were. In this case, you're managing a small city on a spaceship, and you have to deal with things like keeping people housed, medical needs, that kind of thing. And the resources on the top kind of reflect that. So again, this part of the game feels like a Frostpunky style gameplay. Now, in the upper left, there's a new objective. It says Equinox, build the multiphasic force field generator in the workshop. Again, Equinox, that was a 2-parter in Voyager. So whether or not the name of this quest is just happenstance that it's just called Equinox, I don't know. Maybe it is like you're replaying the Equinox, the 2-parter from the actual show. I don't know. But really cool. Moving on to the next one. So on the right, it looks like you will be from time to time be given various things to choose between. So in this case, Captain sensors detect a space station. The hull of the space station is breached and we detect no life signs on board. Finding resources in the harsh environment could be difficult. So it looks like you'll have different options available to you. The ones that are kind of hard to see there, it says destroy a part of the station where cargo might be. Torpedo launch bay +1 torpedo. Send work teams to open up closed facilities and search for resources. Engineering office level 2. So it looks like certain choices will be gated behind certain ship technology. For example, that last one I just read off, engineering office level 2. So it looks like you'll be upgrading rooms in this game, and in doing so, that will affect the various choices that you have available to you. In the upper left-hand corner, Dark Frontier, research Borg data node in the science laboratory. I'm starting to be more and more convinced that these names are like episodic and not just happenstance. So it looks like you will be replaying possibly the TV episodes from the show. And then below that, deuterium running low. Okay, so remember that dark blue resource we were talking about at the beginning? That's what this is. This is deuterium. And that is just a resource that we'll be using, gaining, that kind of thing. So that's good to know. All right, moving on. We've got Equinox in the upper left-hand corner. Wait for the download of the blueprints for the multiphasic force field generator. 4 cycles left. And it looks like that is the Equinox there. So, yeah, there's not much more to say about that than we've already talked about. So let's go ahead and just move on to the next one. Another Equinox, but this is the Borg. And that's what's curious to me. The Borg never showed up during the Equinox episodes. So either this Borg thing is separate from your typical episodic mission, or the Borg have their own mechanic in this game that is unique. And I'm starting to be convinced it's the latter, because in the upper left, it says 4 and then Borg. Now, I don't know if that means that you've got 4 Borg technology on board that you can use for things, or if there's some kind of threat level tied to the Borg as a persistent threat. Kind of like in Resident Evil 3, I think it was, where Nemesis kept showing up and messing with the heroes. So, yeah, I don't know. But that's really cool regardless. So it looks like you'll be fighting the Borg from time to time. Now, this part of the game, when you actually deep dive into the ship, it looks like you'll be managing particular crew members. Like we have Neelix here and we have Harry Kim down here, and it looks like you'll be assigning them to different rooms within the ship. And this view, it looks very Fallout Shelter-y. Like if you've ever played Fallout Shelter, it's a side view of your shelter, and you can see people interacting with various things in the environment. And it looks like you'll be doing much the same thing here. So you've got this Frostpunk galactic map thing, and then you've got this ship view that's reminiscent of Fallout Shelter. So we've got some different gameplay systems going on there. And I'm noticing on the bottom left, this room says damaged. So it looks like from time to time there will be ship maintenance. You'll have to assign various crew members. This also reminds me a little bit of The Alters, a game that I recently played, where you have to fix up like this huge wheel, this wheelbase, I guess. But anyway, and this guy up here, he looks like he was a one-off villain, I guess, from, I think it was, I don't know, he was helping the Voyager decode missions, messages from Starfleet, I think, but he was actually feeding them false messages or something like that. It's been a while, but yeah. So the fact that you can assign him to things is weird. Now in the upper left, it says Uprising. Accommodate awakened ex-Borg, 60 out of 200. That's kind of interesting. So you might actually be getting more than just 7 of 9 and the kids in this. You may actually be able to populate your ship with, like, does that say 60 out of 200? 200 Borg running around Voyager? I don't know how I feel about that. Or it says ex-Borg, but still. Yeah. Relocate them by freeing Borg cubes. Okay. So Uprising, that might be part of Dark Frontier, which, Matrix Zero and all that crap. Anyway, so yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next screenshot. Emergency quarters accommodates 10 crew in crammed limited quality quarters. So it looks like you'll be able to construct various buildings. There's a radial menu there, and it looks like there's a bed icon highlighted here. So it looks like you'll be able to build various rooms within this Fallout shelter-y environment, which is typical of a game like this. And you'll be using resources to do it, or storage space, whatever this is, materials. Yeah, so that's really cool. So you will be able to sort of build Voyager, as it were. At least maybe half of Voyager, because I'm sure some of it is like fixed. So next screenshot, we've got Tom Paris here from the looks of it. And this screenshot kind of further hones in on the fact that you will be constructing rooms. As you can see, there's a bunch of empty squares here, and it looks like there's a building already in progress. And this building takes up 4 rooms, I guess it were, 4 squares. So yeah, you'll be able to assign people to different rooms, build new ones, change the layout, it looks like, possibly. That all is very interesting. Okay. And you can, it looks like, dive even further into these rooms. This is sick bay, obviously, and there's the doctor. And on the bottom right, it says sick bay level 1. Again, I think this hones in on the fact that you'll be upgrading these rooms as you play to unlock various dialogue choices or to make them better in some way. It looks like they have a power requirement. They have a crew requirement to man them. You can toggle the power on or off. Again, in the upper left, there's that alliances word. That's, again, a name of an episode. Prevent mass departure. 35 crew are wavering and will decide in 22 cycles to keep all 35 maintain. That is a part of the show where, there was talk of people leaving Voyager. They wanted to settle down on an M-class planet. So it looks like they're ripping things right from the show, and you'll be able to choose how they resolve. So I guess you can stay true to the TV show, or you can go off on your own tangent and do things. Stay alert for further Kazon attacks. Hull integrity low. Okay. So again, and this also reminds me a little bit of not only Frostpunk, but Ixion, if you've ever played that. That was a really great game. Moving on to the next screenshot here. I mean, it's just more of, more rooms. It says mess hall level 2 on the bottom right-hand corner. Power 2, people 3, toggle power on or off. All right. I mean, Endgame, Fly into the Nebula. Endgame is the last episode. That was a 2-parter. So it looks like you'll be possibly taking Voyager home in this game too. Moving on to the next screenshot. Another mess hall screenshot. Mess hall level 1. Management, food serving, heroes. So it looks like within each structure or building or room, you'll be able to further edit how certain buildings behave, kind of like in Tropico, where you can set, how a building reacts or what its mode is. Kind of similar here. So you can give premium replicator rations, emergency rations that will affect the happiness of the crew. Okay, so we get that part of it. And then the tech tree. This was the only screenshot I could grab of the tech tree, but it looks like there's 5 tabs that we can see. Engineering, crew, science, security, and Borg. I'm looking forward to seeing the Borg one. I really want to see what I can do. I want to make like a Borg Voyager. That would be really cool. But anyway, it looks like you'll need some research points to do it, and 16 might be the amount of time it takes. Like 16 cycles, possibly. But yeah, so there's its own tech tree, and this is just the one. This is the science tab here. Stellar cartography, advanced lighting, threat assessment, transporter room level 3. So you'll be getting your room upgrades from here. Okay, moving on. And this looks like a shot of engineering, if I had to guess, or possibly a cargo bay of some kind. A waste de-assembler level 1. Okay, so it's the waste processing plant. So they don't leave anything out of this game, for sure. Upper left, uprising, accommodate, awakened, Borg. Okay, we've seen that one. Okay. And if I'm going too quickly on some of these, just feel free to pause the video. Moving on to the next screenshot that I grabbed. This is engineering. And on the right, it says main engineering level 1, warp core tier level 2, status working, deuterium to energy, so much deuterium per cycle. And it looks like you'll be able to upgrade. Okay. So you'll be able to upgrade your warp core. Again, very typical of what we've seen so far. Scorpion, investigate Borg hunting entities, species 8472. I can't believe I forgot that. Anyway, moving on. Engineering, again, more of the same here. This is hydroponics, bay level 1. Now, this is interesting. It looks like you can assign heroes to these locations to increase their efficiency. For example, it looks like Harry Kim can be assigned to hydroponics to gain 42% to room efficiency. Now, this is the first time that we've seen actual, like, icons and the, like, they're called heroes in this game, but I mean, I guess senior staff. They've got different icons next to their portrait, along with a number. So it looks like each one will have their own skills, and that can affect, I guess, different rooms and how different rooms receive bonuses. That's all really cool. And again, further looking to the left, there's a bunch of damaged rooms over here. So you will be taking damage throughout the game and having to fix things. So, okay. Moving on. Now, combat. This is the first time I've seen any sort of combat. At first glance, it looks similar to FTL in the sense that you've got a ship, like your ship is in the upper left, and you've got like icons representing your systems. Same thing with the Kazon carrier over here to the upper right. But it looks like shields are represented in 4 different directions. I don't know about dorsal and ventral, which is top and bottom, but it looks like up, down, left, and right is represented here. Although there is a red dot there and a red dot there. I don't know how that, I don't know if that's dorsal and ventral, to be honest with you, but it doesn't look like it. And then you've got like a combat rating of 65, I guess. I guess that's a good way to determine whether or not you can beat the enemy that you're fighting. So Voyager here has 65 and the Kazon carrier has 59. But off to the right, it looks like there's more than one. There's Kazon carrier, Kazon support vessel alpha, Kazon support vessel beta. And it looks like you'll be able to possibly issue orders to attack them directly in some way. But on the bottom right, it says time scale. So I'm wondering if while the Voyager management, like the ship management, is like turn-based, it looks like this may be real time, considering that you can affect the time scale. So that's interesting. And on the very bottom middle, it's hard to see, but there's some crew members listed there. Some of them have numbered cooldowns. So it looks like you'll be able to activate them for different abilities and, wait for their cooldown to expire, then use them over again. And it looks like, there's Tuvok there in the middle. So I'm guessing whoever you have assigned to security or tactical may have an influence on all of that. Again, this is all speculation. And then on the bottom left, it looks like there's an energy meter here along with some bars. Now, I don't know what they represent. I mean, obviously it's some kind of ship energy management system, but what they represent, are these red bars energy that you've used up? Is this your reserve energy? What is this? So that's really cool. So it looks like you're able to target specific systems. This one here is targeted specifically with a red crosshair. So if you've played FTL, this may be somewhat familiar to you. Okay, moving on to the next tactical battle screenshot. Again, timescale. We've got a Vidian ship this time, which is interesting. Current order, attack back. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this. Just, there's this very bottom here reinforces the whole cooldown abilities thing. But without seeing more, it's kind of all speculation at this point. There's another shot there. The Hirogen Speed Scout. And again, you can target specific spots. Lots of shields. That one's going to be tough to deal with. Okay. Looks good. Looks good. Oh, a Borg Sector 12. Now, this looks like a Borg cube to me. but it still says Borg Sector 12. I don't know why it doesn't say just Borg Cube, like 001 or something, but maybe there's something more to that. But yeah, the fact that you'll be fighting the Borg in this game, I'm really excited for that. Okay, moving down. Now, crew management. I saw this and I got excited. This takes me back in the day. I played Star Trek: The Next Generation. There was a game where you could beam crew members down. It was called like not a Final Unity, but it was something similar to that. And you can beam crew members down, and just the idea of picking different crew members to go on the away team is a lot of fun. Now, what's interesting here is that not only do they have their own stats, right? But look at B'Elanna Klingon. There was an episode where, in the very season 1, I think it was, where B'Elanna was separated into human and Klingon, and it looks like in this particular playthrough they kept them apart, possibly because you've got B'Elanna Klingon here. Really interesting. And then Arturis, he is not a regular on the show. Arturis was a villain that tried to deceive Voyager, and you can choose him as an away team. So you'll be able to change the fate of Voyager, and you can use the crew members that were one-offs as, you can use the people that you've met as one-offs in the show as actual crew members. That's interesting to me. And yeah, so it looks like we've got, there's B'Elanna down here and Klingon. So that's what happened. We've got B'Elanna human down here, and then we've got Klingon B'Elanna up here. So they kept them separate. They never rejoined them. That's really interesting. I'm wondering if there's going to be a Tuvix thing. I'm really curious. So yeah, let's go ahead and keep going. This reminds me of like Star Trek Legends, a more recent Star Trek game where you had to pick away team members and use their skills to beat certain, like take science along to do the science path or whatever. That's what this reminds me of. And off to the left it says challenges, and these icons match the iconography on their skills down here. So yeah, this further brings home that you're going to be taking crew members on missions that match the challenge icons, pretty much. Recommended traits. Okay. There's another screenshot there. Yeah, lots of different challenge icons, and then you'll be taking people along. So far, the max seems to be 3, but who knows? Maybe you can take more than that. Okay, so in this screenshot, it looks like you're actually on a mission now, and you've got Tuvok, Arturis, and Kes along for the ride. And from time to time, it looks like, again, you'll be going through each challenge one at a time, and you'll be choosing what path you want to take. Star Trek Timelines, which is a free-to-play mobile/PC game, does something very similar to this. So you'll be able to choose what path you want to take, and you can see what skill levels you have for that particular icon. So for example, Arturis is 60 and Kes is 37. Now that would add up to be 97, but this says 92 to the left. I don't know if 92 is like the requirement, and you just pick a crew member like this 56 here. I don't know if these sum together or not. There's also this Borg icon. It says Borg 1, Borg 2, Borg 3. Maybe that ties into the Borg icon in the upper left. Maybe you get Borg technologies, or it costs Borg technologies to get these things. I don't know. But that is really cool. And it looks like crew members can become fatigued if you choose them too much. So it looks like they've borrowed a bit from Star Trek Timelines a bit when it comes to the missions. Here's another screenshot of that. We've got Kes, Tuvok, and B'Elanna here. And B'Elanna is actually wearing a Maquis uniform. So I wonder if there's a choice in the game where Chakotay and the Maquis do not become part of Voyager, but just a separate sub-faction or subjugated faction or something. That would be interesting as well. So yeah, there's another set of choices here for you. And yeah, okay. And it looks like from this screenshot, it says mission complete. You get some rewards, but it also has experience here. So it looks like your crew members will be leveling up in like a global way. But if you look off to the right, there's also like green bars and red bars. So I'm wondering if they become more proficient in their skills over time as well. Or if maybe like just the more XP they get and level up, the more these bars go up automatically. I don't know how that works, but that's also a really cool feature to see. So yeah, a leveling system for all of these things. And then, yes, a familiar stranger. A stranger materializes on the platform, a being both familiar and alien. So this is Tuvix, and you will actually be able to choose, do you want to separate Tuvix or do you want to keep them? Like, do you want to put Tuvok and Neelix back to how they were, or do you keep Tuvix? So it looks like you'll be able to actually make that decision here. That was one of the most gut-wrenching decisions I've seen Janeway make in the entire series. Like, the act of committing murder to restore two other people. Like, how do you make that decision? Like, really? But yeah, so that was a really good episode. Anyway, we've got another one here, Seska. So it looks like you'll be able to make some decisions here as well. It says Catherine Janeway level 3, chance minus 10% plus 40%. So it looks like depending on a crew member's level, they will have a better chance of succeeding a particular dialogue choice. So it's possible that maybe Seska will join your crew if you want her to. I mean, possibly, I'm not sure. And then lastly, we've got Chakotay here. You're abandoning the Ocampa. To hell with the Prime Directive, they deserve a chance to live. Now, this is interesting to me. This is the very first episode of the entire series. Now, if you choose access the primary control systems to return home, does the game just end at that point? Like, what if Janeway hadn't decided to help the Ocampa and destroy the array, the caretaker array? What if they had just used it to go home? So, what if? You know, this is going to be really interesting to see. Does the credits just rule? Like, the developers just end the game as like a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing? I don't know, just to troll you a bit. So, what if there's an uprising and like Chakotay takes over Voyager and prevents Janeway from actually completing that? Who knows? That would be a great story. So there you go, folks. That was a quick, well, maybe not so quick look at Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. Again, all speculation. If you have any thoughts, feel free to share them in the comments below. This is Vince. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Take care.